Well, ironically, just this past weekend, I was teaching a book that Jung published in 1912 called Symbols of Transformation, where he defines the hero archetype. And essentially, the hero archetype is the energy within us to take life's project on. Hmm. I sometimes think for many folks, getting out of the bed in the morning is heroic. The ultimate enemies we have to fight are within ourselves. As I mentioned in the middle passage, each of us carries two great challenges to the conduct of our life. I imagine them as gremlins who sit at the foot of the bed that greet you every morning. The first is fear, who says, it's too much for you. It's too big. You can't handle it, right? And the second is lethargy, the desire to go back to sleep, pull the blanket over our head, turn on the telly, have some chocolate, And every day, our soul is up for grabs, metaphorically. Hmm. And what it has to contend with are those two forces, fear and lethargy. There are challenges outside of us, of course, always, but it's what we bring to the table. It's our internal sort of sabotage, if you will, by fear and lethargy that keeps us from our journey. When you ask how I was able to persist going through this time in Zurich, it was, for one thing, I had experienced the depression of the former, and I didn't want to go back to that. But secondly, I knew somewhere, I felt somewhere, this is about living the questions that matter to you. And, you live your questions honestly, and they'll take you to the places you need to go. And always the enemies are fear and lethargy. If you remember that, it reminds you to show up. In that book, the Examine Life, I said there, I have a 6-word motto. It's very, very concise. I say to myself every morning, if not literally, metaphorically, shut up, suit up, show up. Shut up is my reminder to myself, hey, stop whining. There are people, a lot of people, who don't have a roof over their head. Think of those poor people who went through the hurricanes in Kentucky and the adjacent states. They have no roof over their head. What are they going to do for food and shelter? You don't have anything to complain about. There are people whose children are getting killed. You have nothing to worry about. Shut up. Second, suit up. Pay your dues. Work hard. You want something? Work for it. And thirdly, show up, not show off. Show up means just do the best you can. That's all life ever asks of you. Most people don't feel good about themselves, partly because they've internalized too much some of the traffic from childhood, often from family of origin, sadly, but not always. And they all over-identify with the shortcomings, the place where failure occurred, the place where fear or lethargy won the day. And the more we dwell on that, the more you could say, well, you're walking down the street backwards. Mm. Nobody would do that. That was foolish. You wouldn't know what you'd be walking into. It's like the enemy there is the self-doubt. And some doubt is healthy, but too much paralyzes and cripples. Every day, the heroic is your summons to show up as best you can. And that's always daunting and always challenging if you're really being authentic. If it isn't, then you're caught in somebody else's life, or you're just living a life of distraction.